Hi there guys, Miss Kyla here for another English time. Today we will be discussing a new topic about reading. Last time's instructional video, we focused on how to extract meanings of unfamiliar terms using different ways, such as using a dictionary, or looking for the word's synonym or antonym, and using context clues. We also have classified and understood the 8 different types of context clues that will help us understand a word's meaning. Well, much of what we have learned last discussion will help us not only learn the meaning of a certain word, but also help us in developing our vocabulary while reading a text or a story. Well, I suppose you guys are ready. Now let us discuss the topic under Lesson 2 of your second module for this quarter, and we will focus on reading on its broader sense. First, I'd like you to try and recall your previous reading classes. Your teachers during those early years stressed on the process of learning how to read. But now, in your junior years, we focus on reading to learn. That is why we'll give emphasis on enhancing your reading skills. Since most of the reading you do in school involves textbooks, specifically English, social studies, and science textbooks, let's admit that you do not read a text the same way you read a novel. So rather than simply reading from beginning to end, you can use some reading skills that will save your time and effort. But before we discover those, let us first define reading skills. What is reading skills? These are the abilities that pertains to a person's capacity to read, comprehend, interpret, or decode written language text. This includes your comprehension, your fluency, your vocabulary, as well as the strategies that you use as a reader to help you interpret and find meaning in a text. Now here are some strategies and tools that can help you find and interpret meanings of what you read. First tool are textual aids. These are educational tools or materials that provide support and facilitate understanding of a reading text. These could be in the forms of a written or printed text and other ways of emphasizing the essential points. When you are reading and some of the words are being highlighted or bolded or italicized, those are textual aids. Sometimes, this can also be in a form of charts, graphs, diagrams, maps, or tables for you to better understand the interpretation of what you are reading. Here's an example of a reading material with textual aid. Now, you would notice that this is not only a plain printed material. You see some lines are highlighted or italicized. And there is also the presence of charts and diagrams so that the readers will better understand the presented ideas. Next tool that can help you interpret and find meanings are advanced organizers. These are the devices that bridges the gap between what learners already know and what learners need to know. Well, an advanced organizer can be in different forms. First example is a narrative. A narrative is a type of advanced organizer that presents new information in the format of a story. For example, a teacher will provide the main and important concepts of a certain lesson by telling a story that includes concepts. Let's say your teacher discusses World War II. But before proceeding to the discussion itself, she would first tell you the sufferings of Filipinos during the war, based on the personal experience of her grandmother. So that is how a narrative works as an advanced organizer. It gives you the concepts on a story format, and it makes you feel like you are familiar with it, and it makes you feel like it is a personal connection, so that you would better understand the concept. Next, we have expository advanced organizers. This type of organizers are useful when audiences have very little or maybe no knowledge similar to the information being taught. For example, prior to presenting information on how to control a forklift to the audience, let's suppose that this audience have no knowledge about a forklift. An advanced expository organizer would first briefly describe the equipment and its function. It describes new knowledge rather than supposing that the readers already know something about it. Now, the third type of advanced organizer is skimming. Skimming, it is the process of skipping words in order to read rapidly and get a quick overview of the material. When the teacher provides the learners with the opportunity to skim over the information that is about to be introduced during the class, what the learner needs to do is to focus on highlighted information or maybe the headings. So that is how you skim a material. Then the last type of advanced organizers are graphic organizers. Visual advanced organizers is also called as graphic organizers. These are commonly used to create a visual structure that can be filled in as the new information that is learned. Well, a graphic organizer requires the students to write down what they think they know and what they want to know before the instructions begin. Remember that it is used as a method of presenting information. They are efficient because they highlight and focus on just the important aspects of the discussion, and they also show relationships between the necessary and unnecessary information. Other examples of graphic organizers are pictographs, descriptive patterns, or maybe conceptual patterns, and concept maps. So, those are some strategies and tools that can help you interpret and find meaning in what you're reading. Now let's talk about another skill that will help you better understand a text. And I think you guys have been doing this during your classroom discussions. Or maybe when you are listening to speeches and then you're reading a bulk of different materials. This is noting details. Well, noting details is a reading comprehension skill that involves picking out from a piece of text the particular piece or pieces of information to achieve a given purpose. These details are the ones that good readers notice, or maybe the authors use this to emphasize the events and the characters in a story. Details are divided into two. First are explicit details. These are the specific details. These are the details that we can see, and these are the ones measurable because they are stated clearly. Some of the explicit details that we could clearly see when we are reading a story are the setting. It is clearly given. Or maybe the characters. Okay? Next, we have the second type of details. We have implicit details. These are used to describe or define a general state. These are the details that we cannot really see because they are not plainly expressed. These are those which we are simply given or suggested because they are not clearly stated. When reading a story, what are the implicit details that we have? Maybe the theme of the story, or the mood of the story, or the purpose of the author writing the story. So these are the implicit details. You have to remember that once you are noting details, there are two types of details, and that is explicit and implicit details. And that ends our discussion for today. I hope these strategies and tools will help you interpret and find meanings when you guys are reading. Especially now that you are homeschooling and you have tons of schoolworks, you have so much paper to submit, right? And there is a pile of learning modules to be read. I know all these works might feel like it's a little too much for you to process and finish. But then if you apply today's discussion, I guess a great load will be lifted from your shoulders. So please, if you listened, surely it will be to your advantage using all these strategies and tools in dealing with all the paperworks. If you have questions regarding today's topic, you may reach me via Facebook Messenger. That's www.facebook.com/kai.gludo. You can also send me an email. That's kaila.gludo@deped.gov.ph. Or send me a text message. That's 0936-551-1909 or 0939-162-5089. The English department will try our best to come up with videos like this exclusively for you guys. I hope you have enjoyed today's discussion. Thank you for watching. Until our next video. Adios.